All right, everyone. So I just got done playing Pac-Man World 2 Re-PAC. I bought it for the PC. I had played this game when I was younger. I don't remember ever beating the game when I was younger, but I played it when I was younger and I said, I got to get that. I got to try it and I got to play it. And I'm happy I did. This was a game that had me hooked from the beginning until the end. It's not a super long game, right? It's a pretty simple thing where you go to each area, you do three missions. The fourth mission is kind of a boss level, and you do that over and over again until you get to the end. And then it gets a little bit different where you still do the sets of three, but you're still battling it out against a boss at the end. But it basically follows the same format the whole time. But where this game really shines, in my opinion, is in its replayability. Each level, you have all of these things that you can do, kind of like, whether you're getting all the fruits, attacking all the enemies. There's a time trial version, there's collectibles like the costumes and the other stuff. So once you go through and beat it, there is a bunch of reasons to go back and to play it again because you could do the time trial version. You could do, the kind of collecting everything. So if you're someone that really loves these type of games, there's a lot here. But I do think that's where this game falls short. Is this is a game for someone like me who's not a huge fan of any kind of platforming stuff or puzzle stuff. I enjoy the game, but I do think that this is a game that is not going to be for everyone. And I will say, I don't know how this is for, maybe people who are hardcore platformer fans or have played this game a ton, but I actually thought this game was super challenging at times. It starts out fairly easy. I do think this game does a great job of building its kind of difficulty, right? It starts out easy, and then by the end, you are getting much, much harder levels and much, much harder things. The boss fights in this, I read because, like I said, I didn't I remember everything about when I first played it, but I went and I was reading a little bit about what some of the changes might have been here. And one of the things they said was the bosses are kind of changed to be different. I guess in the first one, they were very same. They were all the same, right? I guess there wasn't much of a difference between all the bosses. Now each one is kind of a different animal. So I don't know if that's entirely true because, like I said, I don't remember having beat the first one back in the day. But that's what people are saying is that you made this. There's now a change where they kind of diversified the bosses, and so they're not all the same. And the boss fights were by far one of the coolest parts of the game, but also the most frustrating part of this game. Each boss, okay, I can't there might have been maybe the one with the music, right, where there was, like, music notes, you had to kick it back to him, that one was easy. All the other ones had me so frustrated, even the last boss, okay? I was battling this thing, and I got through 2, and I was like, "Thank God." Okay, thank God I got through 2 rounds of him, right? I took out his health bar twice, and then it came up with a third, and I said, "I am so frustrated. I am so done with this final boss. I'm gonna have to put it on that other mode just so I can get to this darn ending because I love this game, but I don't want to keep doing this boss fight over and over again." Seems like a lot of people, probably do it easier than that. I was just so frustrated with that final boss fight, and I'm not saying that in a bad way because I do think this game, it really does have a feature of the more you play it, the more you understand how, like, the boss fights are challenging until you realize, okay, this is how I'm supposed to tackle them. The frustrating part is kind of figuring out how to do it. Like the one where you're in like a little submarine thing, that one was frustrating because I was like, okay, how am I best to take out, because you're fighting this other submarine type vehicle that has guns and stuff like that. And I was like, how do you take that out? Like, what's the best way? And I realized it was kind of a combo of, okay, you have to make sure that you get they had like a laser gun that you could get, and you could either pick the laser gun or you could pick health. And so what I was able to do is on the first round, when it's a little bit easier, I was able to pick up the laser, save it for the second. So then I could pick up health in the second and also use the laser to take out the ship earlier, right? Quicker and not die. And so that is one of the things I loved about this game is that there is that sense of, okay, you replay it and you understand, oh, this is how you do this, this is how you do this, and you get through it, right? And so that's one of the best parts of it. The boss fights were fine. There were challenges. The graphically, I thought this looked great. The kind of vibe you're going for, the theme of Pac-Man is in here. There were some tech glitches and stuff like that that I saw, like weird things with the camera and stuff like that, but they weren't too crazy. But they were there, right? And it was something to um get to. And I will say that the mission variety, right? Because it, like I said, it's very samey in the sense of it's you play four missions with a boss fight, four missions with a boss fight, four missions with a boss fight. It's really three missions, and the fourth is a boss fight, but some of them had a little bit of a run up to the boss fight. But the good part is that even though you have the same structure, each one is so different, right? Each area you're in is so different. And I think that added so much. Like by the end, I was really in love with the kind of Pac-Man world that they created here, right? The missions at the end, the places you're in, what you have to do is just really cool. It's really a challenge and it's really fun, right? There's no question about it. I honestly think that and I haven't played, I don't know if they had made any of other ones past this, right? Because obviously this Re-PAC just came out. So maybe they're gonna if there is a third one, maybe they're gonna remake that one as well. But if they do decide to make another one of these games, I would like to see them, I think there was too much of a focus on like basically this thing's structured almost like Mario, right? Where Mario, you have these giant worlds and you fight all these different missions, right? You go through all these stages and then you have one boss battle at the end. That's the same thing here. The difference is that in this game, you only have a few before you get to that boss battle. And I think there is so much more. I mean, they weren't going to do it in Re-PAC, right? But there is so much more you could do with what they've created here. You might as well go ahead and do it. I think the boss battles to me, and I don't know if this is for everyone, they to me were the by far the most challenging. They were also the most frustrating. I really was frustrated during a lot of the boss battles, and it was to the point of like I was so mad. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't be in there, right? You need them, right? They add that added kind of diversity to the game, right? They add that added change of pace. But it's like the missions, they were so cool, right? I really enjoyed, especially those first few that you do are pretty easy, right? Like the first world, almost, I guess you can call it, um, was pretty easy. But all of that was just a ton of fun, right? That was one of my favorite parts. And so I think when you have, let's say, I don't know exactly what it is, but let's say you have 12 missions in the game, right? Or 16 missions in the game, whatever it is, and four or five of those are boss battles, right? And the vast majority of your time is spent doing those boss battles. I think you could make so much more room for other things before those, right? You could have made this game a little bit longer or added more at the end. And maybe they'll be doing that in future ones. But I'll say this. The story was perfect for a Pac-Man game. Graphics look good. The technical glitches were there and a few frustrating things, but not the end of the world by any means. The bosses are fun, they're challenging, and there is a ton of replayability here. Like if you buy this game and you're someone who's like a completionist, right? You like to do 100% on all this stuff. There's a lot here for you to do because you're going to have to spend time mastering everything, right? Like you're like for me, I was like let's get to the end of this game. I want to see the story, I want to see how it plays, I want to enjoy it, and that's what I got out of it. But if you're someone who's like a completionist, you're someone who's, I want 100% this game and you love these type of games, there's a lot here for you because you have to learn even the bosses, right? There is specific challenges for the bosses that you can complete. And it's like, don't take damage. The only way you do any of this is by learning perfectly what the bosses do and how to combat them. And I don't know how long that would take to 100% this game, but it feels like it will be a long time because there are so many areas for you to mess this thing up. So many areas. I mean, you have, some of the stages are you can't die, right? And you factor in you can't die, plus you have to get all of the fruits, plus you have to destroy all these enemies. That's a real challenge, especially on those end missions. Like the first ones, they're easy enough, right? There you can 100% those first missions pretty easily. It's just like I think I did too. The first mission, it wasn't really about any kind of challenge. It was literally just you having to look around the map enough. That was it. But when it gets down at the end, those missions are not about you just have to explore and find certain things. You're going to be moving quickly and having to make these decisions. So there was just so much here. If you're a fan of kind of these platformer games, if you like these Pac-Man games, if you played this game back in the day, I can assure you you're going to love this thing because I did. Like I said, I played this game back in the day. I definitely didn't beat it because I don't remember a lot of the ending kind of missions here, but I will say I had just a great time playing it, and I am so happy they released this thing. I know some people maybe they're not happy with the price and all of that, and certainly I'm not here to really judge any of that, right? I'm not here to say it's a fair price, it's not a fair price. That's basically, in my opinion, up to you, right? What is it worth to you? I'm looking on Steam right now because I was interested while I was doing this video. They got a very positive, very positive. So people are liking this, right? People are definitely liking this. This was such a fun game. It was such a good game. And in my opinion, it's worth every penny. So we're gonna play the I guess there is a third one that I don't know if it's gonna not the third one that's gonna be announced, but there is a third one. So they probably are going to, and we'll be playing that when we get the chance. This is such a fun game. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time.